Cassell to come on and win the game for them with a good try at the end. He is now in the starting lineup along with Gavin Hill, who played pretty well last week as well. They made some good busts early, Canterbury. Some good defence from the Gold Coast kept them out. Gold Coast were actually pretty unlucky not to win the match. Chris Anderson, the Canterbury coach, has fired a few well-placed rockets during the week amongst the Canterbury players. I think we can see a better performance by them tonight. Terry Lamb didn't play well last week. He'll be the first to admit that. Missed quite a few tackles. I think we'll see a big game from him tonight. And with Craig Polamalu coming into the halfback role, he can organise things for them. He's got a lot of pace, and from around that scrum base, he's going to have a good game.
So I get the feeling you're going to say a much better performance tonight from Canterbury.
Well, it's got to be, because they're one of the favourites for the competition. I think we're going to see a good game from them, with Polamalu and Lamb leading the way.
Of course, the other match tonight in a double-header, Steve Roach, is Western Suburbs and Cronulla. Now, West took on Parramatta at Parramatta and got over the top of them. And, of course, Cronulla caused one of the big upsets when they put over Penrith and rolled on to here. So it was a dogged performance by the Sharks.
Yeah, well, Cronulla based their game on power defence. And the man they'll have to watch tonight, who's had a sensational start of the season, is Terry Hill.
Terry Hill, 7 tries in the sevens, and he has gone on with it.
Yeah, he certainly has. Here's a power effort against the Parramatta side, and he just too much power for the Parramatta defence.
So watch out for Terry Hill. He's big, he's strong, he's plenty fast, let me tell you. And this Western Suburb side have been playing a pretty tough brand of football too. All right, that's about it from the sidelines. Of course, the action just about to start. The man with the golden voice, Ray Warren.
Thank you very much, Darryl. The Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs, first team out on to Doody Park here at Armidale. And a big crowd gathered for the occasion. Quite cool, actually, and many of them rugged up against, what is a fairly chilly night. Martin Bella, of course, the new face in town. Here's the full lineup for Canterbury. Wilson, Dallas, Smith, McCracken, Doolan, Lamb, Polamalu, Bella, Peets, Hill, Castle, Gillies and Dimmick. South Sydney Rabbitohs, the team that defeated Brisbane in that shock result at Lang Park. And can they go on with it tonight? Let's have a look at their side. They've had, as I said to Peter Sterling earlier, a few players.
And this should be South Sydney's first attacking opportunity here if they win this one from the scrum. And one of the big pluses they had going against Brisbane was hitting the ball on the advantage line. Mark Carroll's not there. He was the best man at it. South really have to make sure that they take the ball almost in line with the dummy half.
This is Peter Johnston. Played very strongly against Brisbane. Away from Garlick. Number 16 is Stuart Copeland. And a penalty goes to South Sydney. It's against Gillies, the Canterbury forward. And as I said, Crossan is back in this team. They'll take the kick for goal, and this is the reason why the penalty was given. Interesting to note, against Brisbane, South used 4 goal kickers with no Eon Crossan in the side that night. So it was only automatic that the ball would be thrown to him. One of the very best goal kickers. 22 metres out. 15 in from touch. Hits it. Long enough, but wide. No goal. Scoreline 0-0. Opening minutes of the quarter-final between Canterbury and South Sydney.
I noticed Marty Bella taking 2 rucks up for Canterbury in the first 4 that they had. He was a bit disappointing last week. Maybe the heat got to him in Brisbane. I think the cooler weather will suit him tonight.
Shane Wilson. There's the big fella on camera now, Martin Bella. Matthew Fuller. Fuller being forced back under the tackle of Gavin Hill. Garlick picks up a second man run up. Mark Lyons is the man to play it. Garlick again, out from dummy half, good yards. Fuller. Thompson scored 2 tries against Brisbane. Scored 6 in the World Sevens for Coca-Cola. Dooley.
And that's got a very long kicking game, Manoa Thompson. We saw a good chase there from the South Sydney players going through. And again in this 20-minute football, well, spoilt the good work by getting inside the 5, and Bill Harrigan has given the penalty to Canterbury. The kicking game is going to be crucial for the South Sydney side tonight. They have to play good field position, and they have to show that kind of enthusiasm we saw against Brisbane when they do chase the football.
Paul Doolan, I should have said, instead of Dooley. Now Bella again. Third hit up of the game for him. 5 metres into opposition territory, Gavin Hill runs into a brick wall tackle from Peter Johnston. From Polamalu to Lamb. Lamb spirals a pass out beautifully. Wilson comes into the back line. 20 metres out from the line, he's pulled down. Beautiful pass by Terry Lamb. Polamalu. Lamb. McCracken's on his outside. McCracken tries to bust through. 15 metres out. Lamb. Polamalu. Dimmock. Johnston's got him. 15 out right in front. Gillies on the last. Lamb. Flicks it out the back. Gillies. Now. It's Wilson again. Knocked down by South Sydney. And it'll be a Canterbury feed. 15 metres out. Danger for South Sydney.
Vintage play there from Canterbury, keeping the ball alive. It was the last tackle. Beautiful little flick pass from Terry Lamb. This is the final pass thrown by Scott Wilson. John Crossan got his hand in there, but we're going to see another set of 6 inside the 20 metres. Terry Lamb, again, will be the key man they'll look for.
Same time. Polamalu tries a blindside play himself. 10 metres in from touch. Away from Geordie Peets. Gillies. Gillies going very close for the line. Peets. Polamalu. Again he tries it himself. Peets again. Lamb. Short ball. That's Castle. Long pass out, right out over the touchline. Brett Dallas had no hope with it.
No, the bloke in the first row of the stand had more chance with that one. He tried to create numbers out wide, Terry Lamb. The wide pass was on. Dallas leapt high, but to no avail.
So this scrum in close proximity to the Rabbitohs line.
Excellent play the balls there from Canterbury in that set of 6. They really got a good roll on. That allowed a little bit of space for their ball players to create something, but they just got up very quickly and played the ball and kept the momentum going.
Mark Lyons brought down just outside his 20-metre line. Let's take a sideline comment from Steve Roach.
I've been very impressed with Martin Bella's work rate early in this game, and the player who will benefit most from it is his front row partner, Gavin Hill.
Thompson clears. Scott Wilson putting some urgency into the recover. Paul Miller. I see him described in one rugby league publication as the new Mal Meninga.
At least they haven't put any pressure on the kid, have they?
But I must say, he has filled out or grown unbelievably in the off-season. This is Castle. As Paul Vorton rightly pointed out in our pre-match discussion, he was the man that turned it around against the Gold Coast. Until he came on, they were having all sorts of troubles. Shane Wilson puts on a sprint. Does well. Gets between 2. Outside the 30. Good run by Shane Wilson.
Got a good chase though from Canterbury. They came up in dribs and drabs and put pressure on themselves, and Smith and Polamalu were the men who missed him.
This is Mellor.
He played well last week, Shane Wilson. Brought the ball back like that all night.
He did. Copeland. McCracken. Doolan away. Gillies. Peace. Play by Gavin Hill. Craig Polamalu. Terry Lamb. Lamb with that bend, and now the pass. Dimmock takes it down to the 20-metre line. Lamb again. Oh, he's busy tonight, Terry. He had an off match at Lang Park. He was just out with his timing. But tonight he's in everything, and everything's going lovely for him. Now he puts it in the air. South Sydney scratching their head, wondering what's he going to do next, this little bloke. He's trying every trick in the book tonight, Terry Lamb, one of the game's great players.
He's a little bit in two minds here. I think at the beginning he was going to roll one in, but then tried to put one across for the flying Dallas on the wing. A bit too far. He's touched the football plenty of times out there, Terry Lamb, and that's an ominous sign for opposition teams.
This is the captain for Souths, Darren Brown. Matthew Fuller, formerly was with the Canterbury club.
I was interested to have a look at the defensive line of Canterbury tonight, Ray. We know how much success South Sydney had kicking the football. Pollamouta does tend to play in the front line, probably the first 3 or 4 rucks, so Souths may be well advised to try and continue with that play, which has been successful. Terry Lamb, again, is the key man. We saw him in that set of 6 drop back into the second line.
Scott Wilson brings the ball back. Got our man of the match at Lang Park. Played very well, young Scott. And I noticed that he's fully aware that he thinks he's keeping the job, or keeping the seat warm, as the saying goes, for Luke Goodwin. But he's making hay while the sun shines, giving Chris Anderson some reason to think about who should be the #1 fullback. Lamb, away from Pollamouta. Now for McCracken. Jared McCracken wrapped up by Paul Mellor. They'd be 2 of the biggest centres in 1993 Winfield Cup. Beautiful pass by Lamb, Jim Dimmick. He should have caught that. Wilson. Well, here he is again, Terry Lamb. He's in everything. Gavin Hill takes it inside the 20. Taken out by Shane Wilson. Picked up by Brett Dallas. Knock-on rule.
Great play by Barbar Lamb. He's spotted the weakness down the blind side of South Sydney. He's gone to it a couple of times now, and that time he found a galloping Gavin Hill down that side, and he can put it with the best of them, Gavin Hill.
The best thing about Terry Lamb's game is that he keeps it simple. He does his sums well, and he knows that if he's got 2 players or 3 players on the other side and the opposition are short there, that he's going to catch them out. It's amazing how often that he creates an overlap just by reading the play a little bit quicker than the players around him.
Penalty goes to the Rabbits. We had lunch with Terry Parker today, Peter and I, and we were talking about their performance at Lang Park and some of the youngsters they've got in their ranks. But he hastened to tell us about young Tim Horan, and Souths have got incredible thoughts about what this youngster's going to do when he comes back. Matthew Fuller. Keep in mind, out of this side tonight, you've got Michael Andrews and Mark Carroll. They've got a big job in front of them tonight, but they're playing okay. They've weathered a couple of Canterbury storms. They've turned them around. Played by Lyons. Out for Maybon. Now for Slattery. Long ball. Mellor tries to take a little goofy step there on the 40-metre line. Turns it away. Slattery makes ground. Canterbury come in and snuff it out 32 metres away from their own line. Mellor for Maybon. Matthew Fuller. This is their last. Their kicking game was good at Lang Park. Let's watch it now. Big kick. A huge bomb from Maybon. Time for the backs to come down. No try. The ball went forward.
A very, very good kick. There's no kick in the game that has ever gone too high. And that gave plenty of time for his chasers to get through. In fact, the South Sydney player, Paul Mellor, had the best shot at that one.
Canterbury bring it away. Martin Mellor. Lamb. Darren Smith. Noah Thompson in pursuit. Tackle made by Schott. Dallas. Fuller over the top. Gavin Hill. 5 gone. Played by Gavin Hill. Fed for Terry Lamb's kick. Straight underneath it, though, is Shane Wilson. And this impressive youngster comes back out to the 40-metre line. Crossan. Well, he paid the penalty for running crabwise then. It was an easy prey for Gavin Hill. Darren Brown shows him the way to go. Maybon. Nothing in this match so far. Canterbury have had the better of it, but they've probably had more ball and more time in possession. Maybon. That really is a nothing kick from Rod Maybon. 0-0 the score from start by Geordie Peets, and again Martin Bella accepts the opportunity of taking it forward. Gillies. Castle. Steve Roach rugged up against the Chile Knights on the side.
This is a great centre duel. Jared McCracken of Canterbury against Paul Mellor. I can hear them talking to each other at every opportunity on the sideline here.
Terry Lamb finding the line with a nice long kick.
Could nearly have run the football here. Terry Lamb deciding to kick. The important men in defence for any team are the lock and the 5'8". They're the players that have to reform in defence. On that occasion for South Sydney, it was Rod Maybon and a centre. So they must have been short on that side somewhere, and that's something that a player like Terry Lamb, I know we keep mentioning his name, he is the sort of player that is going to make opposition teams pay the penalty if those halves, locks and 5'8s are a little bit lazy.
Slattery scored the match-winning try for South Sydney against Brisbane. Matthew Fuller. 25 metres out from the South Sydney line.
What I mean by reforming in defence, Ray, is if the play is going the way it is now and you've got players caught there, there's got to be good communication so that the lock or the 5'8 gets back across here to be on this side of the ruck. They should never really spend too much time together in defence.
Second time in the game that Souths have had to use the alternate kicker. Doolan. Wilson. Pollamount. So let's see how Canterbury go on this set of 6. They came into possession on their own 20-metre line. Bella has now taken them out 35 metres from their line. Jim Dimmick, crunching tackle. You'll find that Peter Johnston's in there somewhere. He is. Pollamount. Lamb lets a runner go. Picks up McCracken. McCracken still going over the halfway. Lamb supports him. Last tackle for Canterbury. Pollamount. Bella out wide is Gillies. I'm not sure what they're doing out there, but Jim Dimmick takes it down to the 20-metre line, tries to grab ahead. Crossan comes back for South.
A nice play by the Doggies. They are catching Souths out wide when they spin that ball. Even had front rowers running out there, then running into space. And in the end, Jim Dimmick was the man who came out with the possession. There was nothing on. They've got to, 3-on-2 there now, and a nice inside ball by Gillies.
Peter Johnson didn't go across either, Paul, did he? The inside man.
Well, once the ball went past him, he became a little bit lazy and didn't cover the inside, and that's why the break was made.
Talking to Peter Johnson, he plays the ball. Away from Maybon, out to Brown. Slattery got the pass back for Brown. Now it's gone out to Shot, and he's tackled midway, 20-metre line, halfway line. Last tackle. Maybon puts the lower kick over this time, and Wilson will be forced to bring it back. Beautiful tackle made by the kicker, Rod Maybon. Doolan. Johnston picked him off again. Castle. Bella. Fuller around the legs, and Mellor was over the top. This is Gavin Hill.
A very simple game plan for Canterbury out there so far this evening, just keeping it fairly tight in the forwards. When they get the opportunity, just hit the back line. They're just playing good, mistake-free football, allowing the creativity of their inside backs to take over.
Shane Wilson gets it out just beyond the 20-metre line. Maben using shot. Steve Roach.
Yes, another change for South Sydney, and the attacking player Darryl Trindle coming on for Mark Lyons, the second rower.
Thompson. Towering kick. Bouncing on the 20-metre line. Scott Wilson trying to run around the ring of defence. Slattery it was that made the tackle. Dallas. Straight through. Maben was back in the sweeping position. He made the tackle. Now Polomouta puts the kick in and finds the line. There's the siren in the background, so the end of the first 20 minutes finds there's been no score in the match between Canterbury and South Sydney. We'll be back with more in just a minute. To Armadale, we're at 0-0 in the game between Canterbury and South Sydney in one of the quarterfinals of the Tooheys Challenge for 1993. Chris Anderson is down there talking to his team, and Steve Roach is over with the South Sydney hub.
Yeah, well, the South Sydney coach, Frank Curry, is worried about Terry Lamb cutting his players short on the keep going on the right-hand side of the field. He also thinks that the South Sydney players should lay a bit longer on the Canterbury players.
All right, so there's Frank Curry, the South Sydney coach, just leaving the ground, and the players getting back into their positions for the start of the second quarter. Just while I got a moment, Sunday we go to Nambucca Heads for another big doubleheader, and let's have a look at the stats out of the first quarter with Peter Stern.
Well, as you would expect with a 0-0 scoreline, very little between the teams, but the outstanding statistic there is the missed tackles by South Sydney. 11-6, that's an enormous amount in 20 minutes of football. And the most worrying aspect for Frank Curry is the fact that a lot of those tackles are just one-out missed tackles, one-on-one, and that's allowing Canterbury to make plenty of ground on the fringe of the ruck.
So a very good crowd here at Armadale as Bill Harrigan blows time on for the second quarter. And Paul Doolan, the Canterbury winger, is the first man to bring it back. Almost 20 metres out from the Canterbury line. This is Gillies. Now Martin Bell. Geordie Peace. Ducking away for a dummy half run. Lamb, very prominent in the first 20 minutes. Couldn't have done any more. Shane Wilson. Wrapped up by Jim Dimmick. Crossan losing ground in the exchange there with Gavin Hill. Johnston. Oh, Garlick. He shaped a pass to Thompson, then decided to kick himself, and for all of this, they are now on the last tackle. Wilson. No change to either side for the second quarter. Dimmick. Geordie Peace. Gavin Hill. Not much go ahead in the Canterbury pattern. Now Martin Bella tries to correct that short fall. Pete's away for Polomouta. For Lamb. Ooh, gee. Thought for a moment Lamb had taken a high shot, but he hadn't. Polomouta put down. 5 tackles gone for Canterbury. Lamb again. Puts it high. McCracken goes through. Crossan gets underneath it. Shane Wilson. Left behind him. Canterbury's ball. Right on the 20-metre line. Danger for South Sydney looms again. Gavin Hill. Terry Lamb. Dimmick. Quick play the ball. That could cause trouble. Lamb runs behind Castle. That's a penalty. Correctly ruled too, I feel, by Bill Harrigan.
And he'll be very disappointed with his outside supports here. We see Lamb, he's looking for somebody to run into a hole. Castle goes through. The man in the background who the ball goes back to, Hill, he had to keep going. He had to be a support player.
He won the penalty count to South Sydney. Johnston. Now, big break made by Copeland. Matthew Fuller. I don't know that he's got the speed. Coming across is Darren Smith, but Fuller goes all the way. Matthew Fuller scores for South Sydney. Well, this big fellow, Stuart Copeland, in jumper number 16. He burst into a hole, and young Fuller was there to support.
Well, that's just a missed tackle straight up the middle there. It looked like the front row of the number 8 for Canterbury, Martin Bella. A simple miss. And smart play around the dummy half area, but one missed tackle and good support play. Here we see play straight up the middle, one missed tackle. And that's all it was, one missed tackle. Simple as that. Looked as though that he was going to be caught. Plenty of cover defence coming across there, but very nice little fend.
I'll tell you what there was in there, Peter. There was a good... we'll just watch Crossan have this kick.
Crossan. 20 metres in. 9 metres in from touch. Not coming around quickly enough. 2 misses for Eon Crossan, but South's lead by 4 points to 0.
Yeah, from the ruck, South put a cut-on play on, and there was a good decoy run there. I think it's by Darren Barron. He actually took Gavin Hill out of play, and then the break was made, and away they went. But a good decoy, and they come up with a try.
Great fend by Matthew Fuller to end it off, and he's a happy young boy. Captained Australian schoolboys in 1988. Gavin Hill. Huge kick down the ground, and Shane Wilson is on the bring-back mission.
But again, Ray, like we've said it before during this Tooheys challenge, kicks that go that deep, they have to be caught on the full. Themselves in the position that, like, that could have bounced anywhere, could have gone over the dead ball line, and they've sacrificed, I think, 10 to 15 metres by not catching it on the full.
See that David Watson is now out there for South Sydney. Eon Crossan has come from the field.
Look at this defensive line from South Sydney on that kick. There's Fuller going through to break it, but they had 11 men straight across the field.
Dallas. Gavin Hill runs into a Peter Johnston tackle. You can almost tell when Johnston's involved. You'll see the attack player, his head will jolt back with the impact.
The great defenders in this game, Ray, get down low and drive up under the ribs. Remember players like Bunny Riley, Kevin Stevens, Peter Johnston's in the same mould.
Terry Randall, one of the best.
Good work by Canterbury, good support play.
It's offside, Terry Lamb.
South get the penalty.
It's bad luck for the Bulldogs there. Another promising play cut short. Nice inside ball by Terry, and Simon Gillies couldn't handle it, and Barr was on the ground.
That's the kind of night he's having, Terry Lamb, isn't it? No matter where he is, the ball seems to find him. Unfortunately, on that case, it was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Brent Hill has gone on for South Sydney in 15, and Darryl Trindle has also gone back onto the field, and Blake Butcher is also out there now in jumper number 17. So Frank Curry using plenty of replacements. Shane Wilson tackled by Troy Castle and by Geordie Peets right on the 30-metre line. This is Trindle. Watson's in 14. Playing the ball now back to Sean Garlick. Maben puts it high. They're not bad kicks that Maben is putting up, and Doolan makes the mistake. I fancy this will be a South Sydney feed as Crossan goes to the sideline to come back on. Well, there's no doubt about it that Paul Doolan was the offender, and Rod Maben gets the feed, so there's a good chance here for the Rabbitohs. Maben goes the open side, runs into Terry Lamb. Not too many get past him. Trindle is the dummy half. Butcher. He was the man playing it. Brown gets it away for Johnston. Johnston away for Trindle. Trindle tries to ferret his way through. 7 or 8 metres out from the line. Can the Bunnies score again? Maben. Wide ball. Mellor. Back it goes. Thompson can't handle. Mellor's with it again for South. 3 metres out from the line. Brown runs decoy. Maben to Johnston. Peter Johnston still about 3 metres out. 5 tackles gone. Garlick, Trindle, Thompson. Away from Hill. It's gone out, and a try for Blake Butcher. South get their second try. 8 points to 0 in favour of the red and green. Well, this was the try. Trindle through to Thompson. And this man does well. Blake Butcher spins out of a couple of tackles to put it down.
Yes, Canterbury just got caught in here with numbers. Too many for South. They've got plenty of plays out wide. We freeze it there. There's the man that has gone in for Canterbury, and you'll see Paul Doolan coming in as well. That means that there's plenty of space out here as play continues on, and they do it very well. The man outside could have scored the try, but Hill decided to pirouette out and score himself.
Rossum's kick never leaving the line. Beautiful kick. 10-0 in favour of South Sydney. Shot of the Canterbury bench. Martin Bella, one of them. Troy Castle. As Gavin Hill prepares to restart, and Canterbury just getting themselves into a bit of trouble here. Long way to go, but down 10-0 in quarter football. It can be a worry if you're trying to play catch-ups. Dave Watson.
And again, Ray, the value of the kicking game for South Sydney evidence. Once again, the high ball put up. Paul Doolan came up with a fairly poor mistake. He had a good catch at the ball, and within the next set of 6, they've run in a try. So really a try again coming as a result of a kick.
Thompson. High ball for Scott Wilson. And he's brought down just outside the 30-metre line. Steve Roach.
Interesting to see from the Canterbury room. Martin Bella's been taken off. He's the one who missed the tackle in the South Sydney's first try, and a very capable defender taking his place, Mark Brockenshire. They might be trying to tighten the middle of the ruck up.
Jason Smith is on for Canterbury in jumper number 14. This is Brokenshire. Just over the halfway mark. Polamalu. Lamb trying to squeeze through the gap, but Garlick made the tackle. Polamalu backs up, and that's going to find touch, is it not? Yes, in the in goal. So back to the 22 for the restart.
Well, they're looking dangerous, aren't they, Canterbury? They're creating things. Terry Lamb nearly through there, but a good tackle from Sean Garlick. I think they'll find it a little bit hard to believe when they look at the scoreboard and find that they're trailing by 10. As Ray points out, very difficult in four-quarter football to come from behind.
It's Brent Hill you saw just getting a bit of use out of the puffer. He's an asthmatic apparently, and suffering a bit of inconvenience. Thompson fires a good pass onto the shirt of Blake Butcher. Darryl Trindle backs up nicely. They're down to the 40-metre line, the Rabbits. And here they come again. Maben, inside pass. That's Dave Watson. Now Matthew Fuller. Now Darren Brown. Now Scott Wilson for Canterbury. Turns defence into attack.
And Canterbury's defence is falling apart here at Duty Oval. They're just falling off tackles all over the place. There's 3 or 4 missed in a row there. And Souths are running it well. It's entertaining. It's great to watch. Here's a missed tackle there by McCracken. There's a good support play. Unfortunately, the last pass here, he thought it was... He used to play for South, Scotty Wilson.
It was a good ball too, wasn't it, to get it out the way that he did.
Darren Smith. Gavin Hill. Brett Dallas. Terry Lamb. Craig Pollamount. Pulled down by young Mello.
It's all right to throw that ball around. Someone's got to hit the ball at pace, though, and run into a gap.
Geordie Peach finding the line. And South Sydney again making replacements. Their captain, that's Rod Maben, but their captain, Darren Brown, left the field just a few moments ago. Peter Johnston has also been given a rest in number 8. Now, the man in charge has a quick yarn to Gavin Hill. I think he might have seen a high shot from Gavin Hill in play and didn't call a halt. Maben working it. Hill, Trindle. That's in 12 Mark Lyons. Maben. Copeland played a major part in one of South's tries. Garlick. Sloppy played the ball. The kick for Manoa Thompson. Straight down to Scott Wilson. Dallas will go for a run himself. It looks like he's cemented a top-grade wing position with Canterbury. Brett Dallas. Lamb. Heard the call from Scott Wilson. Held the pass up and put him 30 metres down the ground. Lamb again. Pollamount. Jim Dimmick. 25 metres out from the south line. Canterbury wide and deep as Lamb puts the kick over. Doolan goes after it, but cleaned up by Hill and taken over the dead ball line.
South's one thing they are doing very well is readjusting their defence after a break's been made. Terry Lamb put the speculator in here and the South defence got back to it, but when a break is made, they're getting their line set very early in the piece and not allowing Canterbury any room to move. Good break there from Wilson.
Yeah, coming at a different angle, Paul, wasn't he? He came from behind and just came at an unexpected time and place, and that caught South Sydney out. If you have a look at this first two quarters of football here, there's no doubt Canterbury made many more breaks. South have probably made 2 and scored tries. That's the difference.
Terry Lamb. Hill.
I think he's been one of Canterbury's best too, Gavin Hill. He must have hit it up 10, 12 times. A big workload for a front row.
Broken shot. Pollamount. Lamb. Quick pass for Darren Smith. Short ball for Jared McCracken. Wilson can't handle. Doolan has the ball. Polamalu, Peach, Lamb, Dimmock, ran the decoy, Gillies, goes into a hole. Flung to the ground there is Jason Smith. Now it's away with Geordie Peach, running over for Scott Wilson, coming up the blind side, and it's a try. Scott Wilson scores for Canterbury.
Yeah, good concerted effort there, pressured by Canterbury. They finally came up with a try, though. I think they deserve it because they probably, although behind, they've played some great football. And they threw it out wide. A good run from dummy half by Geordie Peach. As a man here runs out of the line, that's Daryl Trindle, just there. He didn't have to do that. And Scott Wilson running into space.
Very important try for Canterbury, and good bodies in motion for Canterbury here. We see the dummy half getting out. As we freeze it there, we see Polamalu's gone inside. McCracken is heading back inside. He's got support out here, and Darren Trindle is the man that comes in. Had to stay out. As play continues on, there's the pass. Scott Wilson, with his evasive skills, is always going to score.
He's had a good game too, Scotty Wilson. Just made a break half a tick ago, and he's done pretty well. He's brought the ball back well from kick return plays.
He's always been very much a South Sydney kid during his junior days. In fact, I think they still live out around the Maroubra area. Of course, he had that unfortunate parting of the ways with South Sydney. Went over to the Bears, and now he slotted in very nicely at Canterbury. Gavin Hill, a chance to further reduce the leeway. 21 metres out, 10 in from touch. Big New Zealand. No, he's given it too much across the face of the uprights. So the score remains South Sydney 10, Canterbury 4, as we take a sideline comment from Steve Roach.
Although the try was scored by Scott Wilson, I mean, Terry Lamb's involvement in this game is unbelievable. He's been in everything.
And we just watched the try as you're talking, Blocker, of Scott Wilson.
See what happened, they had the numbers there. They had 3-on-3, but when Trindle went inside to take Geordie Peach out of play, it put pressure on Mellor, who was coming across. Now, if Trindle stays out and he's got a front-on tackle on his man, it put pressure on Mellor, who had to try and do a sideways tackle and just couldn't come up with it.
Doolan comes away out of that bottom corner, out towards the 20-metre line. There's the side. So it's half-time in the match between South Sydney and Canterbury. It's been a crazy match in some respects. Souths have got the tries, 2-1 really, and Canterbury have made the breaks. But to the credit of the Rabbitohs, they go to this break leading 10 points to 4. And anything can happen in that third quarter as Chris Anderson moves out to talk to his players. Frank Curry does likewise. And we'll take a break and be back in just a moment.
Style here to lead Canterbury 10 points to 4. They haven't had too many opportunities, Steve Roach, but they've turned them into points when they presented themselves.
Yeah, well, South Sydney haven't had much of the ball, but what they have turned in, and here's the first try by South Sydney.
Well, this was good work again by the new front rower coming into the side, Copeland. Matthew Fuller backing up. That's probably the first break we've seen by the South Sydney team, but good support play as we've seen all night from them.
Yeah, it certainly was. Good to see a young front row like Copeland making the yards in the middle of the ruck. He beat Martin Bella there off a right foot step, and good backing up from the lock forward.
Well, they continue that on. Again, Canterbury looked like that they were going to strike back at any particular moment. They made break after break, but it was South Sydney who scored the next try again. They took benefit of some numbers out wide, and this again, to some extent, against the run of play, Steve.
Yeah, it certainly was. The try could have been scored on the outside by Crossan, but Blake Butcher opted to spin in the tackle and score the try. A good try by the South Sydney side.
Well, Canterbury, it was very important for them to hit back. They did that just before half-time. Again, some good work out of the dummy half area. And they took advantage out wide from some poor defence. Daryl Trindle, the man, really needed to stay out.
Yeah, he came in on the Polamalu, and a good ball from him to Scotty Wilson to score the try. He's played very well tonight, Scott Wilson.
Who else has impressed you, Steve? You're down here on the sideline. You said that you could hear the talk, especially between the centres. Obviously, a fair bit of feeling between the teams, but there's been some good performance for both sides, really.
Well, I've been very impressed with Gavin Hill from Canterbury, and also he's the opposite front rower. Martin Bella has certainly played well early in the first half.
What do you think Canterbury have to do differently to what we've seen in that first 40 minutes to make up this 6-point deficit and to move through to the semi-final.
Well, I'm sure Chris Ann will be stating to him that they've had plenty of opportunities, but they haven't converted them into points. I think that he'll be saying that to him at the moment.
Well, South Sydney, they do have a 6 points lead at the moment over Canterbury. They really defied the odds last week against Brisbane in coming through that game against the raging hot favourites for this Tooheys Challenge Cup. Well, Canterbury got plenty to do. We go to a break now to see if they can get out of this hole. We'll be back with all the action in the second half.
Welcome back now to Doody Park here in Armidale, where we find South Sydney leading Canterbury by 10 points to 4 in front of a very big crowd. Let's take a look at some statistics on the match so far with Peter.
Yes, well, Canterbury have come back into their own with the errors. We saw 11 missed tackles after the first quarter for South Sydney. Canterbury have nearly caught them up. As Paul Borton pointed out during the call, their defence really has fallen apart. That's what they need to address this second half.
Kick-off time. Gavin Hill gets us off. And away into quarter number 3. What will happen in this next 20 minutes as Copeland again makes a good run? Darren shot. Ooh, that looked a bit high on Mark Lyons. Darren Brown. Garlick. Long chase for Scott Wilson, but it's all in vain. Ball crossing the sidelines, and with the new rules applying in the Tooheys Challenge, anything can happen. Scrum will go down, though, 10 metres out from the Canterbury line. South Sydney front row getting ready first. No change to Canterbury's second quarter lineup, and Souths have gone back to the team that actually started the game. Scrum won by Canterbury, just leaving it in the scrum, hoping to catch Souths coming up inside the 5. In other words, Canterbury trying to milk a penalty. This is Darren Smith. Hill.
But Gavin Hill actually dropped that football when he got up to play it there.
Play by McCracken. Given to Polomounta, and now on for Dimmick. 5 tackles gone. Terry Lamb. Oh, Ian Crossan didn't know anything about it. He knows he doesn't have to be told from the grandstand or from the commentary box.
Yeah, that's the sort of mistake Canterbury are looking for now. I think if they've got it, they're going to win this game, they've got to score in this quarter first. Crossan took his eyes off that one. Got a pretty ordinary bounce all the same.
There was really no need for him to pick it up on the run either, was there, Paul? Like, just put the leg out or trap it somehow.
Lamb fading across the ground. Tried to put Jarrah McCracken straight up on the inside. Polomounta works with Lamb. Lamb does the same with Darren Smith as he did a moment ago with McCracken, and now Polomounta. 20 metres out, or less than that. That's the 10-metre line. Across from Jim Dimmick. Simon Gillies. Canterbury opening up in the third quarter. It's gone right across out wide to Paul Doolan. He's taken to ground a couple of metres out from the line. Geordie Peach, long ball for Gillies, likewise for Lamb. Lamb gets away, gets the pass on. Darren Smith turns it inside for Scott Wilson. 5 tackles gone. Brokenshire away, and Lamb goes to the air this time. Eon Crossan's underneath it, and it'll come out to the 22 for the restart. Souths again able to repel the Canterbury attack. Peter Johnston. They've done it well a couple of times, Souths. when you think about the amount of times that Canterbury have launched attacks at their line. Souths have scrambled and scrambled some more to turn Canterbury around. Sean Garlick. Bad pass from Maybon, well taken by Thompson, but it's just put him off his kicking game.
And the bad pass catapulted into a bad kick. I mean, he was under pressure when he took the pass down around his ankles, and took some extra time to take it, and away he went out over the sideline.
Just watch this pass. It's right down at Manoa Thompson's bootlaces. The big man doesn't have time to bend and catch and then rise and kick. And it was Rod Maybon's mistake, not Manoa Thompson's, really. Now it's Lamb trying desperately to put McCracken through a gap. Darren Smith runs off McCracken, takes it to the 20-metre line. He's well marked these days, Jared McCracken. The opposition centres, they're aware of his ability. Well, Jim Dimmick didn't need that. He was doing all right. And Simon Gillies has poleaxed him. Lamb shows it to McCracken, goes himself this time as he tries to mix it up and vary his play. Geordie Peach works the blind side away to McCracken again. 10 metres out now. Lamb, Polomount. Peach, Lamb. Chance here. Oh, gee, a try was bombed there, really. It seemed certain Canterbury would score.
Yes, Manoa Thompson nearly made a very ordinary defensive error there. Terry Lamb coming across. There's Manoa Thompson. I don't know if he was going for the intercept or just trying to get in the way of things, but he allowed his player to get around him and outside him. The pass had found a Canterbury player. It was try time.
Steve Roach.
And I can assure you, Chris Anderson, the Canterbury coach, isn't too impressed with the way the Canterbury side is playing at the moment.
It's been handed the crowd figure for Doody Park here tonight. 7,250 people, represents the biggest crowd ever at a sporting event in Armidale. South Sydney send it way down the ground into that bottom corner. Wilson, had a busy night, played very well, Scott Wilson.
He looks like being a good signing, doesn't he? We said that he played very well and was our man of the match last week, and he's backed up that performance. He's had a controversial career, as we know, but he seems to have found a niche here in the number one for Canterbury.
I'm just wondering where Chris Anderson could put both Scott Wilson and Luke Goodwin in his team. Dimmick and Gillies. There's two matches on Sunday for you people on the north coast at Nambucca. Illawarra North, as Jim Dimmick makes a good run for Canterbury, and the other match, it should be a crackerjack game. Saints and Canberra. Lamb kicks down the ground. Darren Smith's offside. Referee Harrigan points to him and says, "You're offside, stay out of it."
Well, Terry Lamb's flying through, so he'll be back onside very shortly. There's Lamb chasing the kick. They can all come in now. As he got into the field of play, if he has, it's a great effort.
He did. Wilson, penalty, South. Against Canterbury for the markers not lining up immediately and directly in front of the man playing the ball.
Did a good job there, Darren shot. A big chase came through. He got back into the field of play.
And that replay typifies the penalty where both Canterbury players were standing shoulder to shoulder instead of directly in front of the man playing the ball. 5-1 the penalties then to... I just took that down before I was able to read it. I think it said Canterbury. But that would surprise me. South it is, yes, I'm sorry. Got to be quick here. Danny?
6-1 now.
Thanks very much. Thompson finding the line. Just a couple of metres into Canterbury's territory. Been a beautiful day here in the New England, but it does get very cold at night. Second man play. That is to let one player go and pick up the second player. Maybon with a face ball, which is the one thrown across a player. Exactly the opposite play, really. And now it's with Paul Mello. Maybon. Brown kicks ahead for Thompson. Thompson, he's regathered. He's got a player and he's outside. Gets it to Slattery. Slattery scores. South Sydney's third try. Oh, beautiful stuff by Manoa Thompson.
Well, this is this vintage South Sydney. Some great football here by the Rabbitohs. Trying things, as any side that's willing to try something is a good one in my book. And Darren Brown, unlikely chipper of the football, puts a little one over. Jim Dimmick came over trying to cover it up. The bounce of the football, there you go. Manoa Thompson juggled it and flicked one out the back. And that's a great try to the Rabbitohs.
It certainly was, and they have had some luck with their kicking game in the last two matches. Well, maybe it's not luck, it's just good management. Here we see a kick. He frees it now. There's Manoa Thompson well onside. Some cover defence coming across from Jim Dimmick, but as we see, he gets an awful bounce of the football. Couldn't get there on the full. Manoa Thompson, a juggling act. Looks like he was gone here for all money, and then the little right-hand flick. Slattery, the 5'8", supporting out wide. Gee, that's a nice try.
He brought his own cheer squad along with him too. To see Darren Brown, he was enjoying every moment of it. Now he on crossing. The flags are up. South Sydney goes further in front. 16-4.
We mentioned that earlier, Ray. The little one over the top. Polomounter and Terry Lamb do play up in the front line. It was left to Jim Dimmick, the lock, to try and get back there. And I guess now with a 12-point lead, field goal territory once again for the Rabbitohs.
What's that old saying in rugby league? A South Sydney going well and rugby league's going well. And isn't it nice to see the red and greens getting away to a great start in 1993. They've been a club under siege for God knows how long now, battling against all odds as Maybon makes a bad mistake.
Yes, they're battling there. This is a perfect attacking opportunity for Canterbury. A scrum in the middle of the field. There are no forwards to get in the way. You would think that a set play that Canterbury like to use would come to the fore now.
Canterbury's lock picks it up at the back of the scrum. Gillies packed into the back of the scrum on that occasion anyway. Now Darren Smith launches a raid towards the bottom corner. Peach, Gavin Hill. Souths can't afford to relax.
No, this is the danger time. Just a little bit of intensity may drop after you've scored points. They must keep Canterbury out now.
Polomounter on the run around. Put down just outside the 10-metre line. Back to the left they come. Lamb. This is Jim Dimmick. Dimmick put down. Away from Peach again for Lamb. Long pass, Brett Dallas. But the ball can't be taken.
Nice long pass by Terry Lamb, looking for Dallas out wide. He found him. He couldn't control the ball. Good pressure put on him by Darren's shot.
15 metres away from their own line now, South Sydney. Take a sideline comment from Stephen Roach.
Bit of bad news in the South Sydney camp. Manoa Thompson, who strained his medial ligament last week, has redone it again. And I don't know if we'll see him again.
Well, that's bad luck, isn't it? Because he put on probably the play of the match to make that last try and maybe seal the game for South Sydney. The scrum, pardon me. This tap, I should say, taken 10 metres out. Thompson with the ice on that knee, with that troublesome medial ligament. Mark Lyons. Maybon. Trindle. That'll go out on the full and well out. So South Sydney just letting the door open a little bit.
Well, they've got to sort something out with their kicking game. They know there's going to be pressure coming through from Canterbury, so they have to have one kicker on one side of the ruck and another on the other side of the ruck. If that on the left-hand side is pressure, then the big ball back behind the ruck area to the man deeper, he must be able to get a kick away.
Garlic trying to get into his scrum. Clean heel for Canterbury. Terry Lamb away for Darren Smith, who tries to palm off the tackle of Brent Hill but doesn't succeed. Andy Patmore is on for Canterbury in jumper number 17. Geordie Peace gives the pass to Mark Brokenshire. He was coming hard. Peter Johnston cut him down. Robert Relf is also on for Canterbury, so Chris Anderson has used all his replacements now, including the fresh ones. Oh, Lamb! Lamb got a pass away.
Oh, that's a great tackle. That's a try saver. That one's been pulled up.
Penalty goes to Canterbury, and now Polamaunda puts it down. Now let's have a look at this penalty if we can, because Brokenshire is still recovering from an earlier tackle. It's not that incident, but that was Darren Brown going high. It brought the penalty, as Scott Wilson indicates to the referee it was high, but there was no caution. So Harrigan obviously didn't rate it very highly.
Well,
Pardon the pun.
You know, the game is very much in danger of the all-in tackle on the ball is going to be phased out, and it's such an important play. You must be able to stop the football. That's the whole criteria of defence, is to stop the football, and at times you must go high to do so.
That was a very strong tackle there by Mark Brokenshire. Garlic felt the full brunt of the tackle. A break made by Mark Lyons. Over the halfway. Turns it inside. Trindle. He's very fast. Looks for support. Gives it to Crossan, and Crossan puts it down.
Oh, that's a great break made there by Mark Lyons. One-on-one, the man he beat, I think you'll find it was Robert Relf. Way back down the a one-on-one tackle that was missed, and away he went. Showed some speed two lines, set up his support well in Trindle. Trindle set up his support well in Crossan, and he's dropped the ball. And he's filthy, entitled of it.
He's had an awful night, hasn't he, really?
Mixing the toasters.
Gillies runs into Johnston and Fuller. Gavin Hill. Dimmick.
Along with Terry Lamb being their best, Jim Dimmick. Worked hard all night, support play's been great.
Shane Wilson striding out. His big legs pumping out the tune. He doesn't hold back from the time he gets the football in his hands. He runs at his hardest. Darren Schott. Captain Brown. Trindle. Johnston. Wilson. That's a better kick. It's a much better pattern from South Sydney. They dropped off their kicking game. Oh, young Dallas. Knocking on in the worst possible place.
They're playing some tunnel ball here. Really, that's just taking the eye off the ball at the crucial time.
No doubt that it's a knock on. Even though he's facing that way, he actually propels the ball back towards his opponent's dead ball line. So the rule book says it. Now, same tunnel. I wonder when I see a ball come up the same tunnel why somebody doesn't get penalised for having feet across the scrum. And looking into that tunnel via the wide world of sport cameras, you can see the feet there for yourself. So why bring it back and put it in again? Penalise one of them, or both of them, whatever, for having the feet across the scrum.
We're in the third quarter now, Ray. They lead by 12. be working 3 or 4 to the posts, take hopefully the easy one-pointer. Very late in the third quarter too, only a minute or so on the clock, so they're working it that way.
Shot. Garlick away for the number 17 player. That's Blake Butcher. He's already scored a try for Souths.
They've got a play on up the middle.
Garlick holds it back, finds Brown. Brown goes across the park. Now Wilson. Wilson gets it down, does he? Short by a metre. Not even that. Back for Brown. He takes the tackle, the captain. They're 10 metres out from the line. This is Trindle. Swamped by the Canterbury defence. 5 tackles gone. Back for the drop goal. Maben puts it in the air, but it's well wide. And the siren brings the end of quarter number 3. So at 3/4 time, South Sydney leading Canterbury by 16 points to 4. Armidale, you're watching the quarter-final game between Canterbury and South, and that scoreline favouring South Sydney 16 to 4. Chris Anderson, obviously a very worried coach, and trying to extract all he can from Canterbury at this moment. Steve Roach is over beside that Canterbury huddle right now.
Well, I'm glad I'm not in the Canterbury-Bankstown side. No player in the whole side has missed the rocket from coach Chris Anderson, and I don't think, Ray, that the Canterbury side can come back down from 16 points to 4.
Steve Roach, I think most people would agree with you. As the players go back to their positions, and Terry Lamb has got the tracksuit top on. Does it mean that he's not coming back into the action? Let's have a look at some of the stats out of the game.
Well, the defence is very similar for both teams, but down the bottom, a lot of missed tackles from both teams and a lot of errors. As we've said throughout this call, really it's just been South Sydney's ability to convert those opportunities into points. They've done that better than Canterbury. I don't think either coach would be too happy with either of those statistics.
Well, Terry Lamb is not going back into the game at this stage as he files from the field alongside coach Chris Anderson. Canterbury restarting as they've done so often tonight. Been a magnificent performance by South Sydney. Mellow.
He's an amazing player, Terry Lamb. You know, they tell me that at Canterbury, he doesn't train at all during the week with the players. He simply rides a bike to keep fit, and he does some sort of form of ball work on Saturday morning with the side. As we see a penalty now to the Canterbury side, just what they needed. But he does the ball work on Saturday mornings, and that's all he does because of this chronic groin injury he's got.
What do you do here, Fatty? Is it a kick at goal or?
Oh no, well they need tries, they need points, and there's 19 minutes remaining. They've got to try and put it out or take a tap.
Gavin Hill. Brokenshire. Popping the pass away. Robert Relf, that is. Cleaning up. Simon Gillies. Polamauta's pass away. Jim Dimmick has gone out to 5'8" now. Darren Smith has tackled. And both these players are hurt. Matthew Fuller is the South Sydney player.
Well, that's silly. They shouldn't come and grab him and roll him over.
Let's see what happened here. Oh, he's copped the knee right in the head. Matthew Fuller, that is. And from another angle. So Matthew Fuller, who scored a try for South Sydney, scored their first try. He is not all that well. Darryl Trindle, I notice, is getting ready to come out for South Sydney. Maybon serving the scrum. Slattery. Oh, big tackle by Jim Dimmick. Brown. Apparently there's nothing amiss with Terry Lamb. He's just being rested. Wilson. Long run over there for Scott Wilson. He's got Doolan on his outside, but takes the tackle on the 30-metre line. That's Patmore, who went on during the third quarter. Doolan. Robert Ralph. Well, they've got to try just about anything now, Canterbury, and you can't knock a player for squeezing a pass like this. He thought it was half a hope, and it's those sort of hopes that they've got to live on these days. With the scoreline 16-4 and about 15 minutes of this match remaining. Trindle. Mellor. Nice passing. Shane Wilson. He did well. Got a bad ball very high. But still able to take it to ground with him. Slattery.
There's Mark Brockenshire in the foreground there, clutching the knee. He's in some trouble out there for Canterbury.
16-4 in favour of the Rabbits. Johnston. 10 metres into Canterbury's area. Brokenshire is on his feet with help, but he's being brought straight from the ground. Slattery turns the ball inside to Trindle, but it's forward. And a scrum will go down on the Canterbury 40-metre line. Mark Brokenshire.
He's in a bit of trouble, isn't he, with that right bumblebee of his. He played very strongly too while he was on. And Martin Bella's going to go on and replace him.
As you pointed out, Ray, Canterbury really need to throw some caution to the wind, but having a look at the defensive line of South Sydney, you've got Rod Maben and Darryl Trindle as the inside backs. It's probably time that they started sending the likes of Bella and Simon Gillies on the fringe of the ruck, force those smaller players to go low, and maybe they can get something happening there. There we see Trindle going low there. They've got to keep the ball alive. That might be the best avenue.
Jason Smith. Robert Ralph. Polomouta. Back from Jim Dimmick and away for Andy Patmore. Out to Brett Dallas. Pushes away from Darren Schott, then runs away from him. Tackled 30 metres out from the opposition line. Polomouta. Gillies able to get a good ball out the back for Darren Smith. That pushes Jim Dimmick into space up the middle. Geordie Peets. Bad pass, not knocked on, came off the legs. Polomouta kicks ahead, then pursues. But it's been allowed to go over that dead ball line by Shane Wilson. Ice immediately for Mark Brokenshire's right knee.
When that ice gets on there and the player's still in the pain that Mark Brokenshire is, you know there's quite a big problem there. Because normally the ice will numb whatever part of body it's on.
Slattery. He does some clever things, this boy Slattery. He's one of the unsung heroes in this South Sydney performance in the challenge.
He scored 2 tries for them in their last 2 matches. Last week backing up on the inside against Brisbane, and this time backing up on the outside. Is a great kick there. Finds touch, and that's the kind of thing that South need. Just eat up the clock. This will take time to set this scrum. Slattery was the man who supported on the outside, basically in the winger's position to score the try. Darryl Trindle taking over the kicking role there for Souths.
Scrum down on the league's club end of the ground, or football club end. Darren Smith. Gillies He's been busy, Simon Gillies. He's tried everything, but it's been one of those days for Canterbury. Martin Bella. Polomata. Dimmick. He's been very good for Canterbury tonight, Jim Dimmick. Bella. Started off with a rush in the game, but then he was replaced following a South Sydney try, and he missed a key tackle. Crossan. Wilson. He's been very strong, this boy, Shane Wilson, both at Lang Park and here tonight. What's the story on him? Does anybody know? Shane Wilson, where's he come from or whatever?
He's
Local junior?
South Sydney fullback, Ray. He's played very well last week and had another great game tonight.
Thank you, Peter. Shane Wilson now. Back to his namesake. Other end of the park. Scotty Wilson. Dallas. Again getting away from Darren Schott. And the penalty goes to Canterbury. Steve Roach.
I thought Canterbury were going to be the big improvers in the competition this year. They've got a lot of work to do. They've been very ordinary tonight.
Geordie Peach taking the line finder. Martin Bella leaping at the defence.
If I remember correctly, Ray, I think that Shane Wilson come from Illawarra, didn't he? Played lower grades last year at Illawarra.
Yeah, I wish I'd had the program in front of me. Canterbury on the attack here.
Well, Canterbury in the meantime have been able to force their way across for a well-earned try. Try as they may, it hasn't been forthcoming too many times tonight. That's the second occasion. 16 points to 8. Watch it again.
That's Jason Smith.
Did it all on his own. That's a great effort by Smith.
Strong performance.
Simply feeble defence there by South. They might think they've got the game won. Canterbury think otherwise.
It's a very simple try, this one, isn't it? South, they don't want to believe they've got this game won. If this attempt at conversion is successful, it's back to 6. There's still some time on the clock. You've really got to make sure you play out the full 80 minutes.
And you've got Terry Lamb and Jared McCracken sitting on the bench ready to pounce.
That's it for sure. You'd think they would come back in late in this match.
So it's an important kick, this one.
Gavin Hill is 18 metres out. That 10 metres in, and we've got 10 minutes to go. 16 to 8. This is important. Very. He's got it. 2 further points for the Bulldogs. 16 to 10 in favour of the Rabbits. Centre of the ground for the restart from South. Still not impossible for Canterbury. Converted try would see them go into extra time. Bella. Terry Lamb has come to the sidelines. Peach. Matthew Fuller just nearest camera. Terry Lamb there with him. Gavin Hill's gone without it. Terry Lamb has gone on for Robert Relf, and Matthew Fuller has gone back into the game for South Sydney in place of Dave Watson. Scrum 40 metres out. Trindle. Hill. And a penalty to Souths. Well, they'll bring Crossan over to take this kick, undoubtedly. 40 metres out and leading by 6.
Yes, so Terry Lamb's the man that got caught with the swinging arm. He was actually playing outside Patmore in defence there. If they're there to give him a little bit of a rest.
I still like, Steve Roach might discuss this with me, but I still don't think there was a penalty warranted there, Steve. I mean, he came in, sure it was a little bit high, but it's round the shoulder. And no malice intended. What's the game coming to, son?
Yeah, most of the high tackles tonight have only been around the shoulders and they've slid up. I think that's a ruling from the New South Wales Rugby League, but mate, I'll have to disagree with a couple of the rulings tonight.
Play on.
I mean, if that's a dangerous tackle, in fairness, I'm Tom Cruise's twin brother.
Well, it's certainly not a dangerous tackle as Crossan moves in.
Crossan, 40 metres out, almost in front, and he's got it! Crossan gets the 2 points. How valuable. 18 points to 10 now. Way out there, 40 metres, just getting it inside that right-hand upright.
As soon as those flags went up, you saw 10 South Sydney teams raise their arms in triumph. As I say, there's still a long way to go, but they know they've got the breathing space required. And here's another high tackle. Polomounta on Rod Maybon, that would be with the headband.
Well, Craig Polomounta's not going to be hard to find. He's cramped up as we watch it. Straight across the face, there's no doubt about it. I think it was an open hand.
Yeah, I'll pay that one.
And the penalty goes to South Sydney. It was more of a slap than a stiff arm. And Rod Maybon, if it had been a stiff arm, would not be up and taking part right now. What's Crossan doing? Play by Johnston. Darren Brown takes it back. Lions. Five minutes of time remaining. Trindle. Ah, that's a good kick. Very good play from Darryl Trindle. And finding the line, forcing the scrum, taking up time. 15 metres out from the Canterbury line. Now, Bella's been called out. For what reason, I'm not sure. Maybe he had something to say to the referee. Polomounta wins gets the ball from the scrum, won by Canterbury, and this is Terry Lamb. 3 South Sydney defencemen up there immediately. Darren Smith. Bella. Big run by Martin Bella. Ripping through South Sydney. Polomounta. Dimmick. Lamb. Castle. Polomounta. Hill. Grassing tackle there by Slattery. MMI Insurance, they supply us with the $500 man of the match. As Canterbury put it over the sideline, and of course that insurance company, that very good insurance company, supporter of Nines Rugby League, MMI, making a $500 award available in this game. Polomounta's pass way out in front of Paul Doolan. Peter Johnston playing the ball. We're into the last few minutes of the game. Slattery. Hill. Crunching tackle by Dimmick over the top. Peach was underneath. Fuller. Trindle. His kick just lollies down over the dead ball line.
That's no problem for South Sydney. The play will now come out to the 20-metre line. South will get their defence set. A lot of ground for Canterbury to down the other end of the field where they need to be. And the slower the play of the balls and the more players in tackles, the better for the Rabbitohs.
Lamb turning inside there for Jason Smith. No crack in the South Sydney defence pattern yet. As Canterbury continue to probe, looking for the opening that might put them down the other end of the ground. Now they work it down. Castle's pass down to Polomouta and away from Lamb to Bella. Bella's over the 30-metre line. Darren Smith goes further, and then a bad pass scooped up by Castle, turned away by Gavin Hill, and kicked ahead then by Jason Smith. Back goes Rod Maben to clean up. Can he get back into the field of play? Yes, he can. Maben comes way out towards the 20-metre line. Good effort by Rod Maben.
He's had a great game too tonight, Rod Maben. He's one aspect of his play which has been terrific has been his cover defence. He's played in the second line all night, and here he is again in the second line, getting back to cover up this situation there with the ball, and gets out and makes 10, 15 metres.
Mellor, he loses it. Offers Canterbury another opportunity, but it would seem a forlorn hope now that Canterbury can win this game. They're down by 8 points. A penalty goal for Ion Crossan. It's a very valuable 2 points for them, just as Canterbury look like they might get back into it. Patmore. Doolan. Terry Lamb. Dimmick with a little handoff, but there's a high tackle here on South Sydney. Dimmick takes a quick tap, gives it away to Lamb. Lamb gets his pass on to Polomouta, and he knocks on. Darren Brown appeals for a penalty.
I think he was actually talking to Scott Wilson, the Canterbury fullback, who came in a touch late. Guess all he's got to say is point to the scoreboard. Look at the scoreboard. Up go the arms.
Siren sounding the end of the section for Canterbury-Bankstown in this year's Tooheys Challenge. The Rabbitohs defeating the Bulldogs by 18 points to 10. Good performance by the Rabbits. Canterbury, they tried just about everything they had in their kit bag. In fact, in the first half, one could be excused for thinking that Canterbury were in front. Things just weren't working for them. South kept grafting away, and as they did at Lang Park, they've come up victorious here in the quarter-final at Armadale's Duty Park. Let's go down to the ground now. Here's Darryl Eastley.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. Well, man, it's a Rabbitoh through and through, green and red all over you, and I know the first time you've captained the side tonight, and it's an honour that you've been looking forward to. Well played.
Yeah, Dale, we played well. It was a great experience to captain the side, and I think we can go a long way in this competition.
Darren, there are a lot of times down this end of the field when you gave penalties away just 20 metres out from the line and really put yourselves under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, we put ourselves under pressure from silly mistakes and bad passes and bad penalties, but we made up for it with our good kicking game and our good chase.
Well, it's such an enthusiastic side. I mean, if someone misses something, there's another one to clean up. There's someone backing up all of the time.
Yeah, our defence has been sensational this year, our scrambling defence and slide. We've worked on it all off-season. It's paid dividends. They've only scored 3 tries in 3 games.
Not too bad scalps, or 2 good scalps to get Brisbane and Canterbury.
Yeah, well, the 2 favourites to win it, so, you know, it's not bad for us underdogs.
Well played.
Thanks, Dale. That's right.
Ray Warren, pretty happy captain.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Big prize money at the end of this, and it would go handy in anybody's bank balance. But of course, South Sydney they'll certainly be able to do something with it if they can pull it off. 200 grand at the end of the day for the Tooheys Challenge. A very happy coach, Frank Curry, and an excited South Sydney team. They go through to the semi-finals. As we go through to a break, we're back with more in just a moment.
Semi-finals of this year's Tooheys Challenge, and Paul Vaughton again another win full of character.
Great win by South Sydney. Frank Curry, give him some credit. He's got South Sydney playing the type of football where they're throwing the ball around and things are coming off for them. Obviously doing a lot of that work at training, backing up, and a lot of drills at training. But Canterbury, on the other hand, I thought they were very disappointing. They looked pretty ordinary when Terry Lamb was off the field, and when he came on, they gave away too much lead.
Maybe lucky only to finish 18-10 down on the scoreboard. A real team effort from South Sydney. Pretty tough man of the match for us to pick. To see who did win our MMI man of the match, we now go to Darryl Eastlake.
Well, Peter, it was a tough job tonight because the South Sydney side all played well. Any one of 6 or 7 players could have taken our award from MMI. But we went for Shane Wilson, the fullback. We thought that so many times when the side was under panic there, just 10 or 15 metres out, your work away from the line was sensational.
Yeah, well, we trained hard for it, and, Frank told me to get in there and take the load off the forwards, so that's what I done.
Gee, you give 110% every time you get the ball.
Yeah, well, I started off slow in the season. I've had a bad back, and, I've just got to get up there and try my hardest.
Shane, you came to South from Illawarra.
Yeah, well, down there they've got a great back line. It's pretty hard to break their first line. They've got, the likes of young players coming up, Jody Rudd and Andrew Pauls. So, I thought the switch would be good.
This enthusiasm, it's infectious in the whole team.
Yeah, well, it's great, mate. All the boys are trying hard, We've trained so hard and, they're sticking together.
Well, congratulations from the MMI Insurance Company, $500 to you. Well played South Sydney, and you've become now like the new entertainers of this game.
Yeah, well, I just hope we can keep it on with it and go along and hope to take the prize at the end of the season. And I'd like to thank MMI and Channel 9 for the award. Thanks a lot.
Has done a very good job in the fullback position for South Sydney, Shane Wilson. I'm sure he's very happy with his move from Illawarra. Footy tab on tonight's game. Well, South's obviously had their admirers. 18-10 the scoreline, $87.60 that dividend. And of course the football continues. A doubleheader coming out of Armidale. Tonight after Nightline, West take on Cronulla. That promises to be a very good game of football. So Paul, thanks very much for this first game. We've got some more work to do later on after Nightline. We'll come back for that second quarter final. Stay with us and we'll be back with more rugby league action very shortly.
Show self-preservation out the window. Run around, then the decoy. He goes fast. He goes very quickly. Goes. Crunching tackle. Very big hit there. They've got the numbers. Beautifully orchestrated.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World.